thank you, Jim, for your talk before me. It actually made me even more scared of the relevance of my talk. And, but yeah, thank you all for being here. So basically, if you ever thought I have a great idea, but I can't start because I don't have resources or a team, this is a perfect talk for you. Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Kamelman. I have attended amazing talks this week, sleek, pure genius developers insights. So please bear with me because this ain't a success story or a perfect or even fairly decent guide on GenAI. It's just a story of how things are possible with patience, the right frame of mind, a lot of curiosity, and the right tools that are actually kind of found along the way, right? Even though this talk is about AI, it's not about the tools so many before me this week have shown you how to excel on. It's not oriented to any particular role. It is conceived as a story of perseverance that every person regarding their field can relate to. It is about how an idea and how the will to make it happen makes everything possible, even if you don't have a team or money. It's about how an idea can even rise as the outcome of hard times, or how they can be pursued even when you think the odds do not favor you. This is a lot more of a journey than a technical talk on AI tools. It's a lot more on how AI is actually reshaping the world of possibilities for people with an idea, and how the gap between that idea and a startup is day by day smaller. I will tell you how I started building not one, but two startup projects with no team, no budget, and a lot of help from AI on just out of bootcamp knowledge of code, which was my case, and not even the faintest idea what a startup meant when I started. When I started, I had nothing but an idea and curiosity. So that's why the title Path to Startup, I Could Use a Team, is a reminder of that. So hopefully over the next 25 minutes, I'll be able to show how GenAI helped me design an MVP, build a business plan, create branding, videos, investor check, decks, and even teach me what a startup really is, all without spending a euro. I'll also share how this approach led to Binarep, a neurotech project, and you're not alone, a nonprofit app focused on emotional support. After that, hopefully we'll have time for questions, and maybe you have some questions for me that I can answer. So, in order to tell a story, we need a good context of who the character of the story is. And in this case, the whole context tells kind of the story. This will probably take 1/3 of the presentation, so hope I don't bore you, because I believe my context could be the context of many achievers and entrepreneurs of this AI revolution. I believe if we understand this context, we'll be understanding our future TW clients better too. I also believe that the revolution from AI is not only coming from the big tech companies, but from all the little folks around that have a brilliant idea and now more than ever can harness the path to their startups, or who knows, even unicorns. It's not going to be my case for sure, but it serves as a case study. What I will share with you is a psychological profile that is made of circumstances and, of course, the personal background and baggage of this character. Think of this, if I got this far, imagine what true geniuses might be accomplishing. So, pleased to meet you again. Yeah, and thanks for giving me your time and attention today. So, a little bit on me. Before joining ThoughtWorks as a graduate developer, I spent 25 years in the professional music industry. Out of those years, I dedicated 5 years to neuroscience research in collaboration with Eurecat and Metrica Recording Studios in Barcelona. That's where the concept of binaural was born, out of my theory of brain entrainment through moving binaural waves. So fast forward to 2024, during my full stack bootcamp, I turned binaural into an MVP as my final project. That was the moment I started thinking seriously about the startup path. In May 2025, I joined ThoughtWorks as a graduate consultant developer. And since then, of course, Binarep and You're Not Alone have taken a backseat because, well, TW keeps me busy. But I made sure to present both projects to TW's legal department so I could continue developing them on my own time, which, of course, I haven't had the time to do yet. So this is why the story is still in progress, and maybe that's the most exciting part, because it's real and it's evolving, and luckily new AI tools appear every single day. So in 2019, while working with Metrica and Eurecat, I had the spark for what later became Binaural, a platform to explore the neuroscience of moving binaural waves. But at that time, I didn't have the technical skills to turn the concept into a POC or MVP on my own, which meant I couldn't approach investors or potential partners. At the moment, I didn't even know what the word MVP meant. And of course, then came COVID. And it changed everything. Metrica Recording Studios didn't survive the pandemic. The clinical trials we were about to start with several universities and clinics were put on hold indefinitely, never to return. And after COVID, I actually had to leave Ibiza, where I was living, leave Metrica, and completely rethink my life, especially my dependence on music as my only business. In a way, That was a turning point. I realized I needed new ideas, new projects, new plans, and new tools if I wanted my ideas to be brought to life. And that's when I decided to step out of my comfort zone and start learning full stack development. So when I started the bootcamp, I wasn't thinking about binaural at all. Binaural had gone out the window 4 years ago. As a matter of fact, I didn't want anything to do with the music industry anymore. I joined the bootcamp because I wanted a different life. So after 25 years in the music industry, touring and working on other people's projects, I realized I was living off music, but I was dead inside musically. COVID gave me the wake-up call. I didn't want my economy to depend on concerts, nightlife, or whether people could gather anymore. I wanted to work from home and build something more resilient. I needed a change, so I decided to learn what was the absolute rise at the moment, full stack development. Of course, that moment was for me. It had been on the rise for a long time, but I just discovered it then. I thought coding would be my job, so I could give wings to my music and finally play metal, which was why I became a musician in the first place, but never made a business from it because it's a total niche and it's impossible to get in it. What I didn't expect was to fall in love with code itself. It's creative, it's logical, and it's problem solving, a lot like music. Today, I can say I love coding almost as much as I love music. And during the bootcamp, almost by accident, Binary came back into my life. I turned the postponed idea from 2019 into my final project in July 2024, building the first MVP. That was the spark. I finally had something real to build on. But of course, building an MVP was just the beginning. I still had no budget and no team. So I decided to take on a crazy challenge, build everything with €0. When I finished the bootcamp and had the first MVP of Binary, I decided to take on this personal challenge. I would build everything without spending a dime. My investment would be my time, my effort, and my know-how. This forced me to be creative because all the free tiers for AI tools ran out very fast. And that was a year ago. Now they even ran out faster. So 25 years in the music industry, amongst many other things, taught me to survive, to find a way, to keep pushing when they say no. No is probably the word that has gotten more out of me through the years. So as a professional musician, your creativity isn't sparked only on your art. It needs to be sparked into how you will make room for you in a harsh and cruel industry if you want to make a living out of it. So you learn to compromise and to accept trade-offs when you believe that you get closer to your goal. For example, and for me in music was trading my passion for metal or jazz for electronic music, which I didn't like and I lived from for 15 years. And so as my path for startup, for example, I had to accept watermarks in videos for binary, for example, because I didn't want to pay for upgrades. I learned to adapt, focus on progress, not perfection. The time will come for that. At the moment, it was all like, you remember the movie by Kevin Costner, if you build it, they will come? Well, that was the thing, just build it. In the case of you're not alone, through a good business plan and design and a very good presentation, added to the fact that the apps actually tap to a very unattended humanity pain and desired loneliness and depression. I could pitch Ike Rokers, where I actually did a lab in the past, and You're Not Alone became an MVP through a team of 17 juniors, super committed and talented, that actually built it. Or in early 2025, I was working for another startup and I managed to negotiate part of my salary in kind, a 1-year Cursor Pro subscription. So even that was part of the game, using creativity and negotiation instead of money. I had this in my life so many times before, and it was back here. Constraints can be a gift. They force you to innovate. And once I set that rule, AI became my co-founder, helping me design, build, and plan everything for free. So working with zero budget meant I had to become not just creative, but also resourceful and strategic. The free tiers of AI tools expire fast or come with watermarks. So instead of paying, I decided to embrace those imperfections because what mattered was progress, not polished branding at the moment. This approach forced me to experiment constantly. I had to research, test new tools, combine them in unconventional ways, and improve my prompts step by step. I used all my email addresses or even created new email addresses to re-sign up for free tiers. So every single challenge taught me something new. How to push a free AI tools to its limits, how to rethink workflow when something didn't work, how to craft better prompts, because in my opinion, AI is only as smart as your question most of the times. So embracing smaller, less capable models. GPT gave me like a lot of useful resources and free models. So it's not just about saving money. It's about building a mindset of continuous learning and problem solving. And honestly, in my case, it's addictive because every time you find a creative hack, it feels like a small victory. Of course, this is far from ideal, I know, not only on clean code or even good aspect. Remember the watermarks I mentioned? It's about getting it to work. It works. It's enough for now. And I know this is a big ongoing debate for which we have no time now, but if you see the world as a business, this is coming. This is actually right here. We want things right now, fast and working. So with that mindset, I started building GenAI Dream Team. So in a couple of minutes, I'll show it to you, the kind of tools that I use instead of a whole crew. So Binara truly came to life during my full stack bootcamp. And most of the code, I wrote it myself, except for some parts of the UI, who my project partner did. AI only stepped in for one part, but it was a big one. The audio mixer. There was nothing on GitHub I could base it on. There were plenty of audio players, sure, but no actual browser-based mixers. So the challenge was creating a custom stereo audio player that could handle moving binaural wave source in real time, powered by WebSockets. Imagine like a mini DAW, a digital audio workstation inside of your browser. So I'm going to show it to you. And this is crucial in order for us to... Here's the fun part. I had a super clear visual in my head. I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted waveform positioning, the fader movement, channel control, all of it. But this was a little over a year ago, and I didn't know you could insert images into ChatGPT, or maybe a year ago you just couldn't. So I had to describe it all in text, like a digital game of charades. And what I envisioned, it just didn't exist. Perhaps in Ableton or Logic, but I wouldn't dare to try and build that. Massive respect for those tools. I needed a little bit of that on a browser, and it was nowhere to be found. So I built it. Well, ChatGPT helped me a lot in that. So from the start, my idea, my dream was to blend binaural waves with Spotify. There's a whole explanation to that it's not relevant to the moment. We skipped it in the MVP because, let's be honest, Spotify's API is a bit of a nightmare. But early to 2025, after months of banging my head against it, well, AI and me finally cracked it. So I'm going to allow some audio here too. You see how the UI changed? Of course, the UI it's far from being perfect, but the fact is that I could actually get Spotify to sign in, to look for the media that you want, and use it in the player with the binaural tracks. And yes, I used Ghost because there's another whole explanation that you can actually use any music that you want. So is this in production? No, mainly because I still haven't figured out how to stop sleeping and cease the 24 hours, which is kind of ironic since Binaural was meant to help people sleep better or even regenerate in 2 hours, Jedi style. But that's Star Trek stuff or Yogi Legends, maybe topic for another talk. The takeaway, the tech foundation and the vision is there, and it all started with an MVP, with a clear vision, persistence, and just enough help from AI. But of course, building tech was just one side of the puzzle. I also had no clue about startups or fundraising. That's where AI became my virtual mentor. While I had a solid background in marketing, music, and promotion and social media, I was a complete novice when it came to tech startups and fundraising. That's where AI, especially ChatGPT, became my virtual mentor. It guided me step by step how to clearly define the difference between an MVP and a full product vision, what the different phases are for it, for a startup: ideation, seed stage, funding rounds like Series A, B, C mean, and how to prepare investor pitches, or how to build a business model canvas and develop a go-to-market strategy. It was like having a virtual accelerator in my pocket, available 24/7. Thanks to this guidance, I could finally bridge the gap between my marketing know-how and the tech startup world, building a business plan ready for investors. This made the complex startup ecosystem far more approachable and manageable. With this business foundation, I defined concrete plans for both Binaural and You're Not Alone. So after getting a grasp of startup basics, I developed clear plans for both Binaural and You're Not Alone, which the iGrokers juniors renamed to Yana. That's why you probably see Yana. For Binaural, I defined a roadmap targeting wellness and neurotechnology markets and built in an investor-ready pitch deck and business plan. For You're Not Alone, the focus is different. It's a nonprofit companion designed to provide emotional support for people in undesired loneliness, depression, and the ultimate goal of the application is even identifying possible suicidal tendencies with an emphasis on social impact over financial returns. So AI helped me understand how to structure two very different types of organizations, one commercial, the other mission-driven. So now the tools. So throughout this journey, I relied exclusively on free tiers, as I already stated, not by choice, but by necessity. I had zero budget. That meant adapting, embracing limits, and focusing on progress over perfection. So for strategy and writing, I worked mostly with ChatGPT, Gemini, and Cursor, of course, for the part of code. They just didn't help me write code, but they helped me brainstorm, plan, iterate on everything from product features to messaging. For branding and design, Leonardo AI and Midjourney helped me create logos, mockups, and stunning visuals. And I mean stunning. They looked like they come out of a professional agency in minutes. Promo videos for both apps. Runway and InVideo gave me powerful tools to generate motion and storytelling, even if the watermark was always there. The watermark was a badge of scrappiness, and I embraced it. To build presentations, I leaned on Presentations AI and Prezi. Even my pitch decks came together using these tools, structured by AI, then refined by me. I squeezed them to the point of actually putting up videos with QuickTime screen recording when I passed the download PDF options. For architecture diagrams and visual thinking, Diagram GPT and Vibago became my go-to tools. They helped me show what I was building, not just tell it. Now, here's the key idea. AI didn't replace my creativity, it amplified it. It gave me first draft, the skeleton, the raw idea, but I brought the soul, the edits, the story. That's the collaboration that powered everything, the human plus AI, this creative acceleration, and of course, a human in the loop because you need to be there constantly. I mean, this was a lot of trial and error. You can't imagine how many hours I've spent on this. The big takeaway, well, with free tools and a bit of ingenuity, you can cover every single aspect for a startup building, from code to brand to pitch, even without a team or budget. So, for example, let's see it this time. I've created this video in less than 30 minutes. That includes the prompting. Let me put it faster so we can see it all. That includes the prompting. It includes passing it. Of course, I already had from before the whole business plan, all the strategy and everything. So it was just fitting that into presentations AI. And it chooses and it makes not just the presentations, but it kind of chose what information was relevant to go into the presentation. Of course, you need to double check it then, the numbers and everything. But it's there. It's incredible to be able to do this in such a short period of time and a short amount of time. Let's watch another one. For example, and this was one of the most shocking for me. Well, let's watch this video.
Hi there.
So for this video, this one really took a lot longer, a lot of time. This was a lot of prompting. I needed to do the prompting for the script, which was coming and going. Of course, the first scripts were not as efficient, but let's watch the video and I'll make some comments afterwards.
Have you ever wondered how your brain syncs with sounds, especially ones that seem to move around your head? Let me introduce you to something fascinating, moving binaural waves. Imagine you're sitting in a quiet room and suddenly a sound starts gently drifting from one ear to the other. Maybe it's a calming ocean wave or a soft melody. This isn't just any sound. This is a binaural wave. And when that wave moves, something incredible happens in your brain. So how does it work? Well, the brain has a special part that helps us locate where sounds come from. It's called the auditory cortex, and it's always on the lookout, figuring out whether that rustling noise came from the left, right, front, or behind. When these moving binaural waves are in play, the auditory cortex kicks into high gear, trying to track the sound's location as it shifts. And here's the cool part. As your brain tries to follow that moving sound, it starts synchronizing its own activity to the wave. Think of it like a dance. As the sound moves, your brain is led by the sound, adjusting its rhythm. This process taps into the brain's natural ability to entrain, which means it starts syncing with external stimuli, like sound frequencies. The more you listen, the more your brain gets in sync with the wave's frequency, creating a state of deep relaxation, focus, or even meditation, depending on the frequency being used. Now, why does this matter? Matias Kamelman, a brilliant mind behind this theory, believes that by using moving binaural waves, we can create a more dynamic and effective way for the brain to synchronize with sound. Instead of static waves where the sound stays in one place, moving waves take full advantage of the brain's natural talent for tracking sound in space. This makes the synchronization stronger and more engaging for our brain. It's like giving your mind a sound workout. The potential here is huge. From reducing stress to enhancing focus and even improving sleep, these moving binaural waves could be a powerful tool for mental wellness. So the next time you pop on those headphones and hear that sound move from ear to ear, just remember, your brain is doing a little dance, syncing up with the rhythm of the waves and taking you to a whole new level of mental harmony.
So, of course, you could see the watermarks. They're pretty evident. But the intake on this, I have worked on promotional videos, making a whole setup. I have built music for movies and for commercials. And this 2-minute video would have taken an immense amount of money to be done and a large amount of time. I didn't do the music for the video. It's all in video. Everything in this video was made with a prompt for the script and the script passed to in video. I was absolutely amazed when I saw the first outcome of this. And I really used this video for some promotion and to pitch some potential investors. And the curious part is like they understood the part of the watermark. I was coming in straight and saying, I have no budget. I'm doing this on AI. And well, it works. It sort of does. There are a number of other videos. For example, let's see. This is a presentation. I'm sorry, it's only in Spanish. This is, for example, what I told you before. I ran out of the PDF download part, so I had to make a video with QuickTime. It's in Spanish, but this is a presentation that I passed on to iGrokers in order for them to actually choose. This is a part of the projects that they were going to develop with the juniors team. I'll just pass it kind of fast. It's amazing on the thing for me, at least. Of course, probably you're a lot more versed on GenAI than I am, but I was just flipping out on this kind of stuff. It was amazing to see how a little part of information, a little prompt could just get all of this information condensed into this. And of course, it needed a lot of reshaping, of constant coming and going, because of course AI makes lots of mistakes. You cannot trust 100% the information that it's giving you at every moment and every step of the way. I knew the information, of course, all the part of the technical aspect or the scientific aspect. I spent a lot of time working on that. So if it proposed something that was completely crazy or out of the blue, I could spot it on. Of course, there might be, sorry, there might be things that I have missed, but the point is there's a very big chance that you can create something super decent in order to prepare your project to be shown to someone as a pitch, or even prepare the whole business plan and strategic thinking for it. So the key takeaways, AI can be your first team member. You don't need to wait until you have a big budget or a co-founder to start building. The human in the loop is essential. AI makes mistakes. It's constant that it makes mistakes. So it's super important that you know what you're doing. Like Jim was saying, own the code, own the business, own everything that you want to do. This is just an amplifier, a potentiator, but you cannot trust in it 100% or blindly. Key takeaway from me, constraints plus creativity lead to acceleration. Having zero budget forced me to explore new approaches and squeeze the most out of free tiers, even if that meant living with watermarks and videos. And finally, tech plus AI and persistence together make an MVP possible. So if you have an idea and you don't need to wait, you can start building that today. Imagine all the possible unicorns being built out there at the moment. Is it AI? I believe it's human power amplified by AI. Those who can harness this will be on top of the game in the near future. So that's my story. I'll leave you with one question. What's your idea waiting for? If you want to connect or learn more, just ping me in chat. I'm always up for a good conversation. And of course, check out Binara. As for Yana, it's currently offline since iGroker takes down the projects after the program ends, but I'll bring it back to live when I have time. And finally, I have to be honest, I didn't prepare this presentation alone. I had a lot of help from my AI co-founder, ChatGPT. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Now, if there's any question, I'll be glad to answer.